country is in crisis. We have a border invasion that's happening every single day. We have Americans under the age of 30, for the first time it's showing in all types of polling, have lost hope for their future. The younger generations can't afford to buy a home. Inflation is running rampant. Our country is in crisis, and we need real leaders that know how to fight, that know how to walk in a room and don't get rolled by the deep state, and don't get rolled by the Democrats, and don't get rolled into doing whatever it takes to maintain that power and position. We need a Speaker of the House that actually represents the people. This is the people's house. This is not Washington, D.C.'s house. This is the people's house. It says with rules and promises to the American people that we would bring regular order back to Congress. Speaker Johnson has betrayed that by passing 3 CRs and then forcing us to pass or to vote on a 2-part omnibus, the second one being today. He also only gave us, I don't even know how, we had 1 day basically to read 1,012 pages, breaking the 72-hour rule. This is a betrayal of the American people. This is a betrayal of Republican voters. And the bill that we were forced to vote on forced Republicans to choose between funding to pay our soldiers and in doing so, funding late-term abortion. This bill was basically a dream and a wish list for Democrats and for the White House. It was completely led by Chuck Schumer, not our Republican Speaker of the House, not our conference, and we weren't even allowed to put amendments to the floor to have a chance to make changes to the bill.
Overnight, the Senate passes a $1.2 trillion funding package, ending the threat of a partial government shutdown. The vote on the spending bill package came after the midnight deadline. It provides funding for several departments, including Defense, Homeland Security, and Education. The Senate voted 74-24 to pass the spending deal, which will now push any threat of a shutdown to the fall. The bill goes to the president's desk to be signed into law.
This is shocking new video obtained exclusively by News Nation showing the moment an illegal immigrant used a sledgehammer to smash into a Texas rancher's home. Border Patrol quickly arrested the suspect, but sheriffs along the border tell News Nation crimes like this are becoming all too common.
Enforcement will be able to arrest, jail, and prosecute migrants suspected of crossing into the U.S. illegally. State judges could also instruct migrants to return to Mexico.
From Russia, from China, from Iran,
The middle class can no longer afford rent in America. All Americans need a nice, secure, and reasonably priced place to live to prosper. Not only are the lowest income households still unable to find cheap rental properties, but middle-class households are being excluded from the market as well. According to a recent Zillow survey, the average renter in 90 U.S. locations can no longer pay the median rent. A great deal of Americans are financially burdened. The rent paid by 4 million working renter households is greater than half of their pre-tax income. Rents are taking up a significant portion of income. For instance, the median rent in Boston was $2,458 in March, a 24% increase from 3 years prior.
A proposed bill working its way through Sacramento could make it easier for undocumented immigrants to purchase a home in California. It's called AB 1840.
AB 1840 adds specific wording to the California Dream for All program, which is the state's down payment assistance program. The wording would make undocumented immigrants able to apply for this money. I spoke with the author of the bill and the local politician against it.
We said it was a dream for all, that's what we meant.
Assemblyman Dr. Joaquin Arambula from Fresno is the author of AB 1840. The bill says that applicants of the state's Dream for All program should not be disqualified based on their immigration status.
For many people who have been here for years, if not decades, because we have a broken immigration system, who have been paying taxes and doing their hard work as well of building up a credit score, that we need to figure out how to open doors for all people to realize that dream of homeownership.
We shouldn't move people to the front of the line that haven't paid their dues.
El Cajon Mayor Bill Wells, who's also running for Congress, says he disagrees with AB 1840. He says the money for the California Dream for All Act should only go to legal U.S. citizens and veterans assistance programs.
They should be first in line to buy homes and to get assistance, not people that to work for this country. And, in fact, some that come from countries that our young men and women were actually fighting against.
Well, of course I'm not a fan of this plan. It's absolutely outrageous. Not only does New York City have a housing crisis, we have an affordability crisis. People are renting apartments in New York City for thousands and thousands of dollars. People are having difficulty paying their mortgage, paying their rent, keeping up with their property taxes that have increased year after year. And the mayor is now telling hardworking taxpayers that they need to pay so individual who crossed into our country illegally at the border last week can live rent-free. I mean, what planet are we living on? It's absolutely outrageous. And the mayor, I've said it before, needs to challenge, and he is, by the way, finally, after I've been calling for him for a year, to challenge this right to shelter law. It's finally going to go before a judge, because this was intended for homeless New Yorkers, right? Citizens who fell on difficult times, became homeless, to give them a shelter, not for individuals who just entered our country last week or citizens of other countries. And, you know, it's just, of course, this is going to continue to just incentivize individuals to come over our border. That's exactly what's going to happen. He says they keep coming because you're giving them free housing.
California could soon pay illegal immigrants to not work. It's the latest state incentive to pay unemployed illegal immigrants up to $300 a week. The state Senate passed this measure despite the fact that the state faces nearly a $32 billion deficit. The bill is expected to pass the Assembly, but Governor Gavin Newsom has not signed it, or not said if he will sign it into law. Our next guest broke the story.
Yes, so this is a measure that's kind of in line with California's push on illegal immigration. Governor Gavin Newsom declared California to be a sanctuary state when he was inaugurated. California already supplies free medical insurance, Medicaid, to illegal immigrants, as well as driver's licenses. So this is the latest turn in this story. And yes, as you said, it's $300 a week for up to 20 weeks. And state officials would not be allowed to contact former employers to validate their status as employees. It would be completely self-attested, and you know, immigrants could use bus passes, patterns of toll payments, et cetera, to prove their employment.
Due to historically racial exclusions, many of California's most vulnerable workers are entirely excluded from the program.